All right, we are live. It's the Spinning Back Fist MMA show for Wednesday, April 2nd. Don't worry, no April Fool's jokes here. I absolutely friggin' hate April Fools. Every year it comes around and I get fooled for a second and a half on everything. And then I realize, but it's April 2nd. We're over that. We've got fight announcements to talk about. We've got fights this weekend to talk about. I'm excited. Jack, Big Ev, how we doing?
What's up? Yep. Dana White didn't April Fools us, which is great. We'll talk about all those fights, the meaning of them, big fights coming up. And I'm excited. This week's card is not the greatest, but there's some decent fights on there, some fights I'm interested in. And obviously, next week we have an unbelievable fight night, or not fight night, pay-per-view. And can't wait to see that. But yeah, and then obviously PFL starts tomorrow too, which should be fun. New season, new format, new everything.
Yeah. Jack, did you think we were getting April Fools like halfway through the day yesterday when they said Dana White's got an announcement and then went radio
No, but
silent?
I thought he was going to do something like, who knows, with the Nelk boys or something. It's like, that's what Dana does sometimes. But yeah. April Fools, it would have been a good one. But I think I said it to you. There were so many fights that needed to be announced. Like things needed to be announced. So Dana may not have even known it was April Fool's Day.
Yeah, Dana might be the least April Fool's guy of all time. Yeah. At least the way I view him. And like Jack said, everyone had known like the Newark event was happening in, I guess, early June. I mean, that's literally just over 2 months away. Like, you almost knew like that announcement was coming soon. And big for us because we get to go to them. So
of course,
I was seeing fights in person is like my favorite live sporting event. So I'll be there no matter what.
Shout out Vince in the chat. Shout out Justin in the chat. Shout out Ben in the chat. Ben, decent point. Could see Nina convincing him to do something April Fool's. I actually think that's
true. I guess assessment. That's true.
Let's also tell everyone about one of our sponsors here on the Spinning Back Fist MMA show. That is Game Time. The best part of college basketball is here. You know, we're as excited to watch some big upsets throughout the tournament. We didn't get a ton of big upsets, obviously, but we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of everything. While we're streaming in the cave, you can get in on the action in person with Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the app actually go down as it gets closer to showtime. Whether it's a comedy show, a concert, a game, whatever it is, you just wait till it's starting to wind down to ticket time. All the prices are going to drop. And with the Game Time Picks feature, they make it even easier to find the latest deals on the seats you want. Find those last-minute tickets for up to 60% off. Get them quickly and easily. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BACKFIST for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BACKFIST for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. How about that Newark card we're talking about right now? You can get tickets to that Newark card on Game Time. You'll see us there. We will be there no matter what. It's going to be awesome.
Miami. I mean, this Miami, weekend, so you can get them there.
Yep, absolutely. Miami, Newark, International Fight Week in July. When that comes on the horizon, Game Time's the one-stop shop. We can start with the Newark announcement. I feel like news-wise, we've got the rematch, Sugar Sean versus Merab, and also a co-main event of Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. So that title will finally be up for grabs. I was excited, like knowing we're going to the Newark card, getting the rematch of Sugar Sean versus Merab. I think that's a great main event.
So yeah, I'm excited. The only thing is, and it's because of his star power, but Sugar, it's not I guess actually, never mind. He did defend his belt once.
Yeah.
And
although it was
Cheeto,
but I don't know. I felt like he needed to get like a get back. But that being said, I think they know a lot of these guys that were on the come up may have even done what Merab already. Like, what are they going to do? Like, put him against Umar? Like, Umar would have just like ate him up. There's a lot of guys in that 135 that don't match up great for him, and they're kind of like, hey, you can say for Sugar, the fight, although it was kind of dominant from Merab, a few other little things he may have, like, I mean, he was saying 3-2 Sugar, 3-2 Sugar. I thought it was a pretty clear, like, 4-1 Merab, but I guess we'll see. Sugar's such a big deal. Do you feel like he's lost his star power a little bit?
This feels to me like they're trying to. I don't know. It feels like they. I don't want to say kept him on the shelf. Like he said after the loss, he was going to take a long layoff. And I mean, he makes a lot of money out of the cage. He gets paid a lot when he fights, so I get it. But I almost feel like this is. I don't want to say this is it for him, but it'd be really hard to get. Like this would be a big hit to a stardom if he loses again, because then it's like. Then you're getting to a point where then it's like, who does he fight after that? Like Jan rematch, like Sandhagen, Figueiredo winner. Like there's just a lot of losable fights in the top 10 for him at bantamweight. So it's a very slippery slope. If he doesn't get this title shot here without a fight, like he might never earn one again. So I think they almost had to do
on
it.
his side at least, I think he got hip surgery since the last fight. He claimed I didn't even have a hip in the last fight. So he's kind of got that to lean on. Not that he's completely using it as an excuse, but he keeps saying he's like, yeah, I didn't have a hip the last time I fought the guy. Now I have a hip and it's going to be completely different. So at least he has a built-in, like, I'll be a different fighter this time around to at least tease us, excite us that the fight will be a little more exciting.
I know the UFC doesn't agree with me here just from an overall selling standpoint at Newark. They would sell it out no matter what. But just overall, probably a higher gate. I mean, I would have loved to see Jan Merab again inside and for the belt. But it would have been, I think it's low-key easier to resell a Sugar against Merab than Jan against Merab, because Merab
I feel like if they announced Jan Merab as a pay-per-view main event in Newark, people would be disappointed, even though they shouldn't be. That's like a hell of a fight. I think people would be like, well, that's a co-main event.
I really want it because the price on Jan's going to be insane, and it's going to be like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to go to war, and I'm a Merab guy, but I want Jan bad in that spot. Pause. But like, I want to. That's a spot where like, let's go to war. We're going.
I feel like I just had this poof moment in my head of like I just visualized like Sugar clips him, controversial early stoppage. Merab they just like don't give Merab the rematch, and he just gets like they just do the Jan fight. Jan O'Malley 2 first fight was like one of the best fights of the year. Yeah. Like I can just picture it now, like UFC just like coming themselves to that matchup. 5 rounds. Sugar's the belt holder again. And Merab gets just thrown to the side when he might be like maybe the best bantamweight of all time.
What would you price the rematch at for not Jan O'Malley? I'm sure it's out there. I haven't checked, but
O'Malley Merab
against O'Malley for June whatever date it is. What are you going to price it? It closed. I think Sean closed as like a -130 or so against Merab last time. So
did you say Merab -200?
I think
maybe more.
Serious like some big action I think would come in on Sean.
I think Sean would. I think the way the first fight went, yeah, Merab's got to be laying like I was gonna say like 225 at least.
Yeah.
Just how dominant it was, even though you could say
he was kissing him
around. Yeah, like just the way he just like it was never just totally washed him.
All right, so
I think it'd have to be pretty highly priced.
Yeah, it closed around. Actually, Merab closed the favorite. It was weird price action. I remember it was kind of like he was the favorite. He wasn't. He was the favorite. He wasn't. He closed as the favorite. I think -200 may be a good guess. I would assume it's around like -150, -175. Yeah.
Even Vegas betting odds, like he was a massive dog against Jan. He was a big dog against Aljo. Like he's not some like the Vegas odd makers haven't seen him as like this crazy like dominant like fighter that he, even though he's like got all these wins.
Yeah.
That's why I think it wouldn't shock me if he was like a sizable underdog. But if it got anywhere near like 200, like 180, I agree with you, Jack. Like he just the puncher shot. I think people would jump on him
Yeah.
there.
Definitely. And like people want to bet him already. They just want an excuse. Like they just want that little push over the edge, I think. We also got the announcement of Protest Gary. Great main
Great
event
fight.
for Kansas City, right?
Yep.
What's the date on that?
April 26th.
What are you
Coming up right around the
pricing
corner.
that? Give me the odds.
I saw a line already.
Okay.
Oh, you did.
I'm gonna guess
It was around.
Protez.
It was close to what I thought.
I'm gonna guess -120 either way.
Yeah, Gary -120. That's kind of what I thought. Gary would be like a slight favorite.
That makes sense.
I kind of like Gary there.
I
kind
do
of
too.
do
The
too, thinking
grappling,
about it.
his
Yeah.
grappling's been so good in some of these
It's
fights.
been really good.
Like, he almost submitted Shavkat in the 5th round. Like he took his
Yeah.
back. He stifled Venom Page with it. The Protest, it's truly the unknown right now. Like no one's tried to take him down.
Yeah.
He hasn't really gotten to that. Like he knocked out Magny like too fast, and he's more of like a cage, like push him up against a cage type, like grind him out in the clinch. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's with Protest, it truly is the unknown.
There's so much hype with Protez. I kind of look at Gary and think like, I don't know. Gary was in there with Shavkat, kind of stifled Shavkat a little bit. I know Shavkat was injured, but Gary fought really well there. Protez
Yeah.
has gone up against guy like I know he's done everything that's been asked of him, but this is a big step up, and I kind of think Gary matches up pretty well. And Gary's always done a good job of not getting hurt, and that's what Protez is going to try to do to him. And I'm excited for that. I think I'll be on Gary there. Great fight. I mean, Protez, if he wins that, is a star.
If
Hell of a
Protez
like
knocks
team
him
battle
out,
too. Like between Protez's corner and Gary's corner, like there's a lot of fucking talent, good brains
Dude.
in there.
if Protez starches him, he'll be like he'll have a shot to be legitimately one of the biggest stars in the UFC.
Yeah. I think you're right about that for
If
sure.
he starches him, I know that's a tall task. Like
Yeah,
he's
huge
never,
if. Yeah,
Gary's-
nobody's ever
he has-
done it to
he has
Gary.
one
Yeah.
loss, and it was a Shavkat. But I'm like, if he was able to do that, he will. I mean,
I think
this-
I almost think the same in reverse. I think if Gary were to go in there,
Oh,
and
that'd be
fucking
huge for him.
Immediately
Oh, no,
starts
absolutely.
Protez, you know,
absolutely.
yeah,
If he like head kicked him, knocked him out, like something crazy like that.
Yes.
Oh my god.
yeah,
Oh, Gary would be like he'd be so back. Like the trajectory from Gary to like knocking out Protez would be like one of the craziest. One of the
Yeah.
craziest. Like
the Irish
comebacks
people
ever.
are looking for an Irish fighter to fill a void right now.
With
They're
that,
like,
I
we
think
need
we
someone to
would-
root for.
We would go. I think that would end. We would end up with Gary Brady for who I guess
Probably.
like let's say Bilal beats
Number
JDM,
one contender. Yeah,
number
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
contender for after. But how bad is this Shavkat injury? Like how long is he out? Do we really even know?
I think he's got to get it next. I mean, the fact that there's one, but like he's got to get it after this,
Has to.
Yeah, yeah.
no matter what.
As long as
Almost
he
no
can
matter
get
what.
back. Yeah,
But that's
Yeah.
why it's like I think it kind of lines up unless there's a rematch along the way, which I don't think there will be. It'll be like whoever wins Bilal Shavkat, Bilal/JDM Shavkat, they'll be Gary versus Brady or Protez versus Brady again. Protez against Brady would be Brady would destroy him. I think
Imagine-
Brady.
Now, I agree with you. Imagine Protez just has like this elite takedown defense. We don't know it.
we
That's
have
fair.
Someone
We
in the
just don't
chat.
know.
Who put it in the
I
chat?
agree with you, Jack. I agree with you.
That's fair.
Brady
That's fair.
probably cooks them. He probably cooks them, but you just never know.
I think
Someone in the chat said that Protez has jiu-jitsu tattooed on him, and they were like, he's
but
about
that's
that way.
different. That's different.
I know
Like,
it is. I know it is, but maybe.
like jujitsu, like some jujitsu guys have some of the worst takedown defenses of like
Yeah,
anybody. They
yeah.
just like look at Gracie. He just pulled like he pulls guard into getting knocked out. Like it's just so.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he gets submitted, but like Leon some great jujitsu as well. Like great defensive jujitsu throughout his entire career. Look at what Brady just did to him. He just suffocated him. That's American wrestling. It's just tough. It's just like it's a really hard thing to when you do it well, it's up there with that Dagestani wrestling where they just suffocate you, and then like maybe they find an angle and you just get submitted.
We need an American versus Dagestani wrestling card commentated by DC, Islam, and Khabib.
Yeah. And Chael Sonnen.
And Chael, yeah. Get Chael in there for sure, no doubt. Get those 4 and just have them call a USA versus Dagestan wrestling only match.
No. Fuck Islam on the call. I need him in the match.
True. Islam should probably be in the match.
I need Islam Brady at 170.
Jordan Burroughs.
I want to see Islam Brady grapple at 170. That'd be wild.
That would be wild.
Oh, we need Islam Jordan Burroughs.
Yeah.
Freakish with Wall. We need a Wall.
Yes.
We need a Wall. At AKA, we have Wall, brother.
Not fight announcement news, but UFC news. They're making a UFC movie, at least another UFC movie. I know that the UFC has been involved in like Roadhouse and stuff, but Zack Snyder signed on to make this movie Brawlers. And I think it was Turkey Al-Sheikh's idea. He said he gave an idea to Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder was like, I love it. Let's do it. I'm worried about this thing. I got to be honest. I want it to be great. I want to root for it. Dana White's a producer. I want to be there for it. Zack Snyder's like the only director in all of movie making that I've been shitting on for 8 years here at Barstool. And I don't even like want to shit on him. For a long time, I was trying to defend his movies because people really hate this guy. Be like, nah, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. But his fans fucking suck. His fans are just the worst. So they made me sort of hate him. And now I'm like, oh God. But the last movie he made that was universally liked was 300, which came out in like 2005. Since then, he's been making super polarizing movies. His Watchmen movie, super polarizing. It's got people that say it's God's gift to Earth. It's got people that say it's the worst thing to ever happen to movies. His Superman movie, very polarizing. Batman versus Superman, polarizing. And now he makes kind of like weird sci-fi movies, zombie movies with Dave Bautista. He hasn't made like a grounded movie like ever. So maybe this is the key. Maybe it's just he needs to make Ev. You suggested that to me. It was a perfect way to show that glass half full. Or maybe he just needs a project like this.
I said I just pictured it just being like a hodgepodge version of like Nick Diaz growing up.
Yeah.
Like they said it's going to be based off like a kid from like LA area.
Yeah.
Like rough and tough kid who makes his way to the UFC. It's going to be like if Nick Diaz grew up in like 2022. Like or almost like a Brian Ortega. But like
and that sounds interesting. Yeah.
Like that type of person. Maybe Ortega could be in it. Good looking guy.
He definitely could be.
He's done movies before and stuff. I could maybe.
Yeah.
But I basically pictured him either being like Nick Diaz, where they make like go like kind of the really rugged, like kind of like true brawler, if you will, kind of like vibe, or if they went more like Ortega part, like a more like a good looking kid who's like kind of like little soft spoken, but like confident still, and is a real fighter's fighter kind of thing, like more jiu-jitsu guy. Who I mean, the story told in the podcast would be kind of a great like. He's teaching cops jiu-jitsu, and then he kind of just gets a fight. He has no money in his bank account. If I lose this fight, I'm going to just retire. And he gets a double bonus and goes on to have like an amazing career. I could see them doing kind of something like that, like those type of trajectories. Yeah. It makes sense. I mean,
I hope they do something that's at least unique and not like there's so many fighting movies that we've seen that just follow like the same structure of like hardened kid escapes the streets, goes into fighting, and they, do the Rocky thing in the end where they don't win, but it's a moral victory. Like, do something unique. Do something different with it.
The Nick Diaz would be like losing a brawl and everyone loves you.
Yeah.
That's the Nick Diaz, really, but it's kind of both of them, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest movie guy. Like, I obviously love movies, but I just don't have enough of a knowledge base. I'll definitely watch it. But I kind of resign myself to others when it comes to like what's good, what's bad. Maybe I'll like it. But usually I like movies that are kind of critically, not critically, but they're acclaimed, at least by my peers. This one will be interesting. I mean, you could make a good one. There's a great storyline, you can just kind of craft it. But
this guy, he's known for great visuals. Like undeniably, his movies. Great.
I've seen Watchmen, and I can understand why it's so divisive. I didn't really like it, but I could see why there's certain people in the world that are like, this is, you don't get it. This is it.
Yeah.
And I know
every
Watchmen
one
is
of
like
it, what
such a-
really grinds my gears, every single movie he's ever made, he'll complain about the cut that was in theaters. He's like, yeah, that's not the version that I truly intended.
what,
the
like the
audience to see."
colors?
No, he wants to extend everything. So he puts out extended versions, the director's cut
Like,
of every movie he does. He just makes them longer. He just makes them way longer. So he's like, yeah, the 2-hour version, you only got the tip of the iceberg there. You got to watch the 4-hour version. It's like, nobody's got 4 hours, bro. So we
now
gotta,
why?
I need to be a consultant on this movie so I could just rein him in. I just want to be like, rein it in quick. Let get to the next scene quick.
Why is he so why is he so respected? Just like because of what he did early in his career?
I think because what he did early, but I honestly can't even explain like why he has such a loyal fan base. But he does. Like his fan base, the new Superman movie that's coming out this summer, his fan base is shitting on everything they put out because it's not his. So they're like, we're gonna pull it down because it's
Who
not.
is it?
It's crazy.
Who is it again?
James Gunn is making the new one. And like people are really excited for it, but the Snyder fans are like, no, it doesn't look dark enough. That was the other thing. He makes like everything like dark and edgy. So he's like, you like Batman? You like that he doesn't kill? Well, Batman does kill, and he brands his enemies. He's like real dark.
I remember
yeah.
how Superman versus Batman was shot, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like it was just
super
like,
dark.
I was just
like
kind of like,
Superman snapping people's necks, where like James Gunn Superman's like saving a cat from a tree.
yeah.
So maybe like Nick Diaz like beats a murder case that he like actually did.
Yes, like that's a possibility.
Goes on to have a good UFC career post.
I also feel like regardless, even if it's not like based on like it could be completely not based on any fighter. I feel like Nick and Nate Diaz are gonna be like, yeah, that movie is based on my life. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like it almost has to be a little bit like from
It has
LA
to be.
area,
It's a fighter from
tough
LA,
kid who always wanted to be a fighter, who fought in the UFC. Like it kind of just no matter what, it's gonna kind of be that.
Yeah. Vince had a good question in the chat before. Where is it? Oh, here. Thoughts on Meta UFC partnership and using AI for rankings. We know when that's going to debut. I don't think we do know exactly when it's going to debut. I don't know. Like people shit on AI, obviously, for like AI art or whatever, if it's wrong. I feel like it almost, not to be dramatic, it almost can't get worse than the system we have now. It's not that the system's completely broken and horrible, but it's like the most random people you've ever heard of voting on the rankings. I think at least like this AI will probably improve it. I think. I don't know.
I think it has to improve it somewhat.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
I wonder if they'll put popularity into it too, which I mean, I guess you could argue that's a thing, but it really should be I shouldn't be popular. It should just be like it really should just be people who are covering the sport like now.
Yeah.
Like just take all the people that are consistently at like the media days, like the John Morgans and the Oscar Willises and people like that, like don't like have all them. Maybe if they want to throw us in there, God bless. But I'm saying like
how far can it go with analysts and bias too? Like, can former fighters be in there? Like, I don't know how far the bias would run, but like the people that work the desk at these UFC events that are able to not show bias and stuff, like I almost would be interested in their unbiased vote. I think they have a good opinion on that stuff.
Yeah, no, I guess we'll see. I mean,
you just run into
the rankings matter, but like Dana doesn't give a fuck if he wants to make a fight. It's not like it's like regulated.
True. Yeah,
it's not like
Cheeto versus Sugar is the perfect example. He was like number 6 when he fought him, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Protez is 13. If he beats Gary, he's getting a title shot.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really. So I mean, I guess
Dana's just running the simulation till the AI says John Jones is pound for pound 1, and he's like, "Yep, good to go, Mark." Yep. Y'all should get a vote. Vince says that'd be nice. I don't know if we should get a vote.
I would love it.
It'd be nice. I'd have trouble not showing bias.
I would assume,
completely honest.
I would assume if you're betting as much as we are in fights, they probably don't want it. But what is the ranking really even like? The sports books.
The ranking has nothing to do with betting odds. I mean,
true.
There's plenty of times like a guy ranked higher is a like massive underdog.
Yeah.
I would have never ranked Paul Craig though. I would have been like, nah, fuck you, dude.
See, that's why
I would admit I would hold bias. Like if I think you're a scumbag, like you're just not in. Fucking
You're not getting ranked.
Yeah.
Like Colby's out of my top 15. I don't even think he's
right away.
There's an argument he doesn't even deserve to be in the top 15.
You can make that argument.
Yeah, fuck, he's out of my top 15. I just booted him out of my rankings. Big ass ranking, Colby, you're out.
Let's tell everyone about another sponsor before we continue here. It's a sponsor that we absolutely love, and it is DraftKings. The finals for March Mania are here, and only one thing is for sure. It's the last time to bet on college basketball this season. It's bittersweet. It's been an amazing ride to get here, full of the unexpected happening. Maybe there will be more. Get in on the action, unexpected and expected, with DraftKings Sportsbook. With live betting, exclusive promos, exclusive content, and parlays, DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. If you're ready to place your first bet, check out the matchups and pick a team to win. It's that simple. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code BACKFIST. That's code BACKFIST, BACKFIST, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Here's a question for you guys as gamblers that enjoy betting on college basketball. When that's over, UFC excluded, take UFC out of the equation, what's your number one thing you like to bet on? Does it go to baseball, or does it go to NBA, or does it go to hockey?
I love betting baseball. I bet I do it. I've been doing it for a long time. So I would say baseball. NBA playoffs a little bit. Hockey, I don't know enough about. Maybe I'll have some stuff here and there. But yeah, I would say baseball for the most part. And PFL, UFC, obviously, to go from there.
Of course. Yeah. MMA year round.
Yeah, baseball for sure. There's just day games. There's games on all day. I like betting NBA playoffs though. I'll definitely be betting some NBA playoffs for sure. But yeah, probably baseball when I'm betting like the most.
You guys want to get right into the card this weekend? Speaking of betting, is there any other news that we didn't recap that we should get into? I think we got most of it.
I think the only one that BSD and Joe Alvarez got booked for the Montreal card.
That's right, and that's a banger. Yes, that's a great fight.
Violence,
that's awesome.
Carnage, blood.
Yeah. Will that be a co-main event, you think?
No, because it's a title fight. Because Valentina and
you're right, yeah.
So I probably the third or fourth.
Yeah, third. I would like. That's a huge fight.
I could see them making Gilbert Burns Morales ahead of it, but I agree with you. I think in terms of what you want to watch, that should be like number 3. But I can see just the Burns Morales. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. They're both going to be on the main card.
Rogan said he'd rather go to Russia than Montreal, Canada. Which was
I saw that. He's talking about Canada like it's a third world country, isn't he?
No, I think it was during the fight companion, and I think if you hear the
probably
clip,
drunk or something.
I think if you hear the clip, it's a little bit more like he's joking. Like, I'd rather go to Russia. Like he never does outside of a United States country.
Yeah, and I also think he was giving McGregor shit right after the McGregor-Khabib fight because McGregor went and took a picture with Putin at the soccer game to almost be like, look, Khabib, like, I'm with your guy. And I think Rogan was like, you can't be associating with Russia.
It's a wild world. It's a wild world.
Oh, big news we forgot to mention. Bryce Mitchell went on MMA Guru's podcast. The clips from this fucking thing are unbelievable. There were some crazy ones. He said that MMA Guru is the only MMA journalist he could name.
That's what I put that up on Spinning, and I said that's the only one he can name. And then he also said, and then Guru goes, what's his name? Who does the stuff? He
knows. He definitely knows Ariel.
Who's the other one that he used to fight? He's crazy now. He's always talking about Israel.
Jake Shields.
Yeah, he's like, it's you and Jake Shields to me. Then Bryce goes, hey man, you got to get out of England. You got to come to America, buy land in Arkansas. And here's the thing about land in Arkansas. You buy something for $60,000, in a few years, it's going to be $80,000. It's always appreciating. And I was like, I don't. It's possible, but there's no such thing as a risk-free investment like that.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Also, Bryce,
Free money.
And then he kept saying, Guru's like, yeah, we got some crazy stuff going on here in England. He's like, people think I'm retarded, but I know what's going on around the world. I know what's going on in England. And it was that was one of his quotes. Like, they should make a quote card for it. It's like, people think I'm retarded and inbred, but I'm not.
Yeah. I think he said I'm neither one of those things.
Yeah. But he's cured from the like being attacked by naked women.
And that's not happening anymore.
He's fought them off. Gene Silva.
He exercised those demons.
There's only one Lord, and it's not Silva.
Yeah, he knows Silva's not a man of God because you wouldn't call yourself Lord.
A man of faith would never call himself Lord. There's only one Lord, that's Jesus Christ.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. All right, let's get into this card. Ridiculousness in MMA. This card this weekend is a 6 p.m. prelim, 9 p.m. main card, I believe. Am I right about that? I think so. Definitely starts at 6.
I'm honestly surprised. They should have done an early one for this one to not go against March Madness. To go
Final Four, right? That's crazy.
It literally goes like identical with the Final Four, basically. I feel like they should have done an early one, but I mean, this is kind of the like you said, the appetizer card before the monster pay-per-view next week. Makes sense, I guess.
I feel like it felt like there was absolutely no buzz at all about last weekend's card, and I feel like there's gonna be no buzz on this card at all. Maybe that's by design on March Madness. They're kind of like, we'll sweep this one under the rug. We know nobody's watching, but I don't know. Kicks off with Vanessa Demopoulos versus Talita Alencar. Pick'em fight, -110 both ways.
Alencar's like that is jiu-jitsu specialist. Vanessa's not bad on the ground. Her takedown defense kind of sucks, but she finds ways to win split decisions, and it feels like she shouldn't. I kind of want to take Alencar, but Alencar's really hard to trust. If she can't get the takedowns going, I think she's kind of screwed. It's tough to bet against Demopoulos in Vegas. I mean, it's her home. It's strip club heaven.
It's what they've always said. It's tough to bet against Demopoulos in Vegas.
Yes, it's tough. Like, this is her.
It's like going against Brady in Foxborough.
It is.
Yes. Don't do it. The judges just know. They kind of they're like, I may see her. Like, you never know.
This is her cage.
Yeah.
You don't just walk in Vanessa Demopoulos' cage and take a piss in it.
The T-Mobile Arena, the house that Demopoulos built. That's right.
No,
in the
no, it isn't even T-Mobile, but I know.
Not T-Mobile.
Yeah.
The Apex.
But still, she owns all the buildings in Vegas. It's her city.
Yeah, give me Demopoulos. There's your pick.
Demopoulos. Victor Henry versus Pedro Falcao. Falcao is +180. Victor Henry -218. I don't remember Pedro Falcao. Why don't I?
Pedro Falcao. He's only had one.
He's only fought. I was going to say he's only fought once in the UFC.
He had a crazy first round against what's his name?
Victor Hugo.
Yeah, and then he couldn't finish him. And kind of he fell off late. But this is an interesting one. Falcao's not bad, and Victor Henry's getting a little bit older. But Henry pushes the pace. He's a really good fighter. I don't think I could lay the juice on him, but I don't know if I can get to Falcao yet. So
I think he definitely has I think he has the grappling edge, cardio edge, experience, and just like kind of strength of competition edge. But yeah, I mean, parlay piece if you really want it, I'll pick him to win. Not gonna bet it. Not gonna bet him money line or anything like that.
Kind of fucked to fight. 2 guys in the UFC, both of them are named Victor. Just back-to-back, deja vu. Time to fight Victor. Then we've got Loma Luke Bunmi, Loma versus Estela Nunez. Estela Nunez was originally supposed to fight Molly McCann. Visa issues out of that fight. They swapped it around. Now she's fighting Loma. No line on this. No line.
It's insane. It's like I don't know. It was up at one point. It's kind of new, but on other books, it's like around like minus like 600. I I I kind of think like maybe Loma late, but if around 3 numbers, like over 10-1, I'll consider it. But I think they might do this round 2, 3-1, round 3, 6-1. And I think Loma rolls. Loma, I'm a huge fan of Loma. This price is insane, though. Estela Nunez, if she loses this, she enters a rare group, which is 4 losses in the UFC, no wins. I think she would be alone.
Oh.
Now, Lacerda definitely did it. Or did he win a fight? I think Lacerda went 0-4.
I think women.
Okay, that makes sense.
Lacerda, you're right, but Lacerda should be given another shot.
Lacerda, yeah.
There's a world where Lacerda's 4-0 in those fights.
Yes, there is.
Wow.
he I think he might have dropped every opponent besides Shrez in the last one. He had every opponent on his last breath, and then he somehow ended up getting finished.
JP says Luke Thomas says.
Is Reese McKee 0-4 in the UFC? Obviously, he's on this card as well later.
Yeah.
Or did he want to fight? I think he might be 0-3 or 0-4.
He's 0-2. Oh, wait, no. He's 0-4. You're right.
Yeah. Because he had 2 stints.
But he went back to Cage Warriors.
He had to fight,
he had to fight Hamzat.
Yeah. Which is tough, obviously.
JP says Luke Thomas says the UFC being in monopoly doesn't help card quality, and that's how they can keep getting away with Apex cards. He's probably right. I mean,
yeah, sure.
Monopoly in anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Reese McKee, speak of the devil, we got him up here against Daniel Frunza. Frunza minus 162, Reese McKee plus 136. Is this the moment? Is this the moment where he goes from defeated to getting a win? It could be. This could be his night.
I think he's live. He's tough, dude. He's a tough fighter, dude. I don't think he's 0-4 bad. He lost to Ange Lusa, right?
0-2 stints. Yeah.
And Ange Lusa, he had him hurt. I think it was Ange Lusa. He fought Chidi too, I think.
That was the last 2 he fought.
His losses aren't horrible. He's been competitive in those fights.
Alex Morono is his other loss, other than Hamzat.
Yeah, another guy veteran has a lot of wins. I think he's live here. Frunza would be 0-1 in the UFC.
Frunza would be 0-4 in those 4. It's just I don't think Frunza's very good. And I think McKee's even faced much better competition on the Cage Warriors scene. Now Frunza does come from LFA. LFA's not obviously pretty good, but McKee's I would love to be on the underdog here. And I like McKee. I think I'm going to get to a bet here. It should be fun. And I think this is kind of you got to win this one, bro. And I don't mind backing fighters in those spots.
He's going to go for it.
Not at all. Up next, we've got Diana Belbita versus Dion Barboza. Again, no lineup because this was
it's like a minus 1,000. Not kidding.
Yeah.
Or is that why they put no line?
No, I think
it was a short notice.
Short notice, but it's other books have opened. It's like a minus 1,000. I think Belbita. I don't know. So everybody's saying that she's going to get submitted because Molly submitted her. This girl just gets submitted by the fucking front door at the Apex. All right, she walks in, gets submitted. But can she find a way to survive? Maybe KO price. That's the only way I could attack this fight. The submission price is going to be insane. It's going to be like minus 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably happen too. She'll roll an armbar.
Then we've got Davey Grant versus Daniel Santos. Davey Grant plus 130, Daniel Santos minus 155. I think I like Davey Grant in that fight.
Yes, sir. Love Davey Grant.
Yeah. I think someone in the chat said that before, that they said Davey Grant was their favorite bet on the card. I forget who it was in the chat. Sorry.
I bet Davey Grant already. I just really like him specifically as an underdog. Santos does come forward, but I think Grant is a guy that kind of responds to guys in his face, and He's sharp. He's been in there with some good guys, some good competition. My only concern is like obviously he has those restaurants, and it's like maybe he doesn't care that much, but he doesn't need to fight, so maybe he does care. It's not like he needs.
Oh, speaking of that stuff, extracurriculars, Sugar Sean off the weed. How about that? Off the weed, as Stephen A would say. He said he's just been playing poker. He's been no weed, no this, no that. He cut out a bunch of vices in his life, just straight up poker.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah,
and he had maximize the
hey, congrats
to the crazy clip today.
Maybe that will, but the thing is, like, I would say, like, and I know weed's evolved. I'm not the biggest weed guy, so I don't know as much, but his cardio's never been an issue. Like, his lungs are pretty good.
Yeah.
He also makes it a thing. He doesn't smoke. I think it's at least like a month or so out from fights, maybe more. I know it's a solid amount of time. He doesn't. It's at least like a month or so, I think. But Davey Grant is the guy that falls under my like "will fight for your money" category.
No doubt.
Davey Grant is a dog. Yes, please. Against a guy that's not the experience. Not I'll gladly take Davey Grant.
Then we've got Ode Osborne versus Luis Garul. Garul minus 270, Ode Osborne plus 220. Is that a wide line?
At a certain point, I'm going to have to bet Ode. This is crazy. Yeah.
220 feels like you have to bet him at it.
Garrell, I know he's a Contender Series, I think, like last year. Has he had a UFC fight yet? I can't remember.
No.
I don't think so.
I remember him from Contender Series, bald guy. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, Ode Osborne should have beat Rodriguez. So I guess that didn't age great.
Yeah.
But Ode Osborne is like, there's levels, and I'm curious where we're at here with a guy who, like Ode Osborne versus if he touches 200, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
I think. But even 180, I feel like is like your
ends up plus 220 right now.
Is it that high now? Because it was
220.
That high?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I remember, Guriel, he's a solid fighter, but I mean,
he fought Piccini, who, I mean, should have lost against Duffy. And then Piccini's a straightforward wrestler. I think he went to Oklahoma State.
He did. Like, he's like Jersey kid or New York.
Jersey.
Chat's loving Garul. They I got to admit, they are saying super well-rounded, great gas tank, Ben Casey.
Ode does find ways to
lose instantly.
Like, if this is a striking fight, he's going to be minus 270 on the feet against Ode. Like, Ode's pretty damn good on the feet. We know that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this number got that high. And like a couple of days ago, it was like minus 218. Like,
I respect the market, but then also it's like, you see what happened last week. I got Mel Costa before the fight at like plus 200, which was insane.
Yeah.
Like what? We saw how that went. It was a close fight, but it was not like, I wouldn't say, we look back, that's like C-Rod minus 130, maybe minus 110 each way.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't realize I'm going to have to hop out to get like this Twitch thing sorted before my stream at 4. I will say before I go, I'm taking a shot on Josh Emmett in the main event and praying for a knockout.
All right. I kind of like it.
And like, I'll probably just bet Emmett KO. And
also our boy is fighting next. Torres Finney, built like a fucking action figure. He doesn't have a neck. He's not going to get submitted in his UFC career. His price is kind of out of control too. Minus 265. I don't know. I love Torres Finney, but I don't know if I can back him there.
So the guy Valentin he was a Ultimate Fighter guy.
Yeah,
and I actually don't. Funny, he's super funny. Like, he was the guy instantly. He like became like he was like coaching the guys like on his team, and like he landed in his first. I believe, if I remember correctly, he was the first fight of the whole season, and landed like a big elbow knockout like 20 seconds into the fight. And instantly thought he was like daddy of the house, running the house. But a funny one though, because I truly don't think he meant it to like low bro everyone. I think he just truly like he just loves fighting so much. Like, I think he's a coach type. He just has that vibe. I don't know. Finney he's such a tank. It's hard to see me like he's gonna get takedowns. Like, but Valentin is like decently well rounded. Like, I don't know, like if he could hang around long enough to like do something on the feet, but he's such a monster. Like, it's hard to see him just not like ragdolling him around the cage.
I keep thinking about this fight as what number do I have to get to for Valentin? And I keep thinking back to his last fight, which was against another American wrestler.
Loader.
And Loader kind of kept taking him down. And people were expecting him to stuff the takedown defense, but you kind of saw the difference in American wrestling versus, I think this guy's from Sweden? Or
I think it might be Swiss, maybe.
He's Swiss, you're right. He's from Switzerland. He's Swiss, a little bit different. And I just see Finney ragdolling him and just kind of throwing him around. And he's going to spam takedowns. And Valentin's decent from the bottom, but I think Torres is going to be tough to submit. The only thing is, I don't think Torres Finney should be minus 265 against anybody in the UFC at this point in time. Doesn't have the best finishing ability. And so I keep going back and forth. I may end up on Valentin because I think if he somehow stuffs some takedowns, he's going to be much bigger than, they're the same size, but he's that reach advantage, I think, is going to be insane for him.
For sure. And he early in the fight with Loader, he took his back and had him in kind of like a compromised spot. But Loader is a very traditional good American wrestler. That's the part where I have to figure out I don't know. I don't see how Finney can also do that, but I agree with the reach and all that. If he can keep the distance and pick him apart, it's just tough because I agree with you about laying all that on Finney, but at the same time, Valentin has no UFC wins. And the guy fought it was another Ultimate Fighter guy.
Yeah. And Torres, I think the UFC was mad that Torres said no to the Ultimate Fighter, which is fair considering the best way to get in the UFC right now is through Dana White's Contender Series. They're kind of all right, if you want to do this, you don't want to do this, then you have to fight him. Looking at this, I'm interested to see how this fight plays out. It's an interesting. None of these guys are going to be top 15 fighters, but it'll be a decent fight. Next up, Gerald Meerschaert against Brad Tavares. Fascinating fight. Two older guys. Tavares, big time favorite here. He's up to minus 230. I think he's down a little bit to minus 230 actually. Meerschaert, I wouldn't hate. I kind of think this may be a decent spot for Brad Tavares knockout. There's no number yet on DraftKings, but I guess I'll see what that is. I kind of see Tavares maybe finding Meerschaert's tough, but I think Tavares, if he can throw hard enough, I think may find a knockout. It depends on the price.
Because Tavares he's just not a finisher.
I know.
It's like you see Meerschaert at these dog odds and you get enticed, but you're like, Tavares has such good takedown defense. He has good cardio. I don't see GM3 doing the GM3 thing here where he is losing and then chokes him out in the third round or whatever. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think if Tavares knockout was a good price, decent plus money, I would consider it. But it's tough because he's just not a finisher. He doesn't have crazy power. Yeah, but I think Tavares wins.
Next up, we have Kennedy and Chekwu against Martin Buday. Kennedy's minus 360. This is his second fight at heavyweight, I believe. I think this may look kind of Buday is just kind of a get you up against the cage, maybe get a takedown or two, kind of lay and pray. Kennedy gets going. The only thing is he not ready? But I think his body looked pretty good I know, obviously, last time was Chris Barnett. Kenny's the guy who just finds ways to lose, though. I mean, he lost the OSP recently as minus 600. Yeah. I don't trust him at this. Yeah, I don't trust him at these numbers, but I see why he's this big of a favorite.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It almost makes me want to take Buday, but I do think there's a world where he just gets totally outclassed on the feet with just his Especially Kennedy still has power, power in this weight class. I mean, the length, like he's so tall, long, super long arms. But yeah, no play. It could get interesting if it goes late.
I mean, Kenny does kind of get going late, maybe around 2, round 3. Those aren't out yet, but then we have Cortavius Romeus against Chang Ho Lee. Chang Ho Lee had one of the wildest fights in the Road to UFC final against Chao Long, I think his name was. A wild fight back and forth. I think Chang Ho Lee refers to himself as the Korean Khabib. He didn't really show it. Cortavius, I'm a little bit concerned about Cardiel, but I think Cortavius may be worth a shot here. He's plus 114. He keeps coming down. He's one of those guys that's just so athletic. You could see it too. He's just ripped. And he was a Contender Series guy. And let's be honest, Road to UFC guys versus Contender Series guys, I think Contender Series, specifically in America, they just get a little bit better looks. Maybe the scene in Korea and Asia continues to get a little bit better, but they just get better looks in throughout where they're training and then up until the Contender Series.
No, I love Romeus plus money. I agree with you. It's really just a fade the road to the UFC. Those guys just haven't done well. I think, like you said, the competition's just not nearly as good. I think this could end up looking like a steal at plus money.
Yeah. Next up, and I guess this is the co-main, which is fascinating, but we have Joe Anderson Brito against Pat Sabatini. And earlier in the week, I took Pat Sabatini plus 185. I'm a little bit concerned. It's the market's gone the opposite way. It went down a little bit, but then it kind of got bought back up. Sabatini is easily injured, and Joe Anderson Brito may find a way to get that knockout. But I still think, like, we saw Sabatini, his last fight, and I hate to play MMA math. Was it against JSP?
Yeah, I think so.
And JSP was looking pretty damn good against Brito. And I think JSP has a little bit better striking than Sabatini, but I think Sabatini has better ground game, better takedowns, better American wrestling than Brito. And I think he can kind of maybe even find a submission here or there. The price, I think, is just a little bit too wide, but there's something within the market that keeps pushing it the other way. And I may just be on the wrong side here.
Yeah, my fear, I like the Sabatini look. My fear for him is Brito just kind of out-brooding him. Like, he's just stronger, hits harder. I'm afraid of for Sabatini, like, those things coming into play big, like you mentioned. If he can't just totally physical him, outsize him, outstrength him, then Sabatini's going to be, like, I think, look like a great bet, especially getting him up to, like, plus, like, 190, 195. But I think that's the kind of gamble you're taking, though. Like, it's because Brito's a weird where, like, he's -2. Brito, he could look -1,000 here if he just has that type of, like, physical advantage. But also, if Sabatini, like you said, if he can and Sabatini's able to just, like, get, like, takedowns and back takes, it'd be a great. I'd probably lean Sabatini at the price. Like, I'll take the shot, and if he dies, he dies.
Yeah. So then we get to the main event, and of course, it is Josh Emmett returning off of his starching of Bryce Mitchell, and a guy that I've low-key gained a lot more respect for is Lerone Murphy. There's been some spots where I've been looking to fade him, and I was really big on Barbosa against him, but he just took him to town.
Yeah.
Emmett has a puncher's chance like anybody, but I think Lerone is a rightful favorite. I don't know how I'm going to attack this. I may just end up watching it. I like both these guys. I still think one of the biggest robberies in my sports betting career was Lerone Murphy against
Gabriel Santos.
Gabriel Santos, split decision, disgusting.
Gross. So gross.
And obviously Lerone did it to Dan Ige too. And I think Emmett, we've seen him. The only thing is, like he may have one of the best shins in the UFC. Like Ilya couldn't put him out. Ilya's put out Max and Volt now. Ilya couldn't put out Emmett. That was one of the bigger beatings. And Emmett is such a dog. He was even throwing some back late in that fight, which was really something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I respect anybody taking the Emmett shot. I don't know if I'm going to get there, though. I don't know if I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I feel like I'll end up just playing Emmett for like shits and gigs, just because I'll get to the fight and I'll want action. But Murphy the Barbosa fight was very impressive, but I also try to keep in mind that Barbosa is really old, so don't get too, because I definitely faded Murphy a bunch. The Santos one was brutal. Like, felt like I should have won that one. The other one's like Barbosa was clear. Murphy just totally dominated. But yeah, I know I'm gonna end up taking a shot at Emmett. And plus, I like this. I would love if it touched 3. I don't think it will, but I guess we'll see. Anything mid high 2s, I feel like I'll have to.
I won't be parlaying Lerone. This is a big spot for Lerone, though, and at a certain point, Lerone, I mean, he's 33 now. That's not that old, but he's got to get going. And this will be, since his fight against Barbosa, this will be his 3rd fight in about a year's time, which I think is a good pace for him. But if he wins this, I mean, he continues to rise in the rankings, and we can see how far it goes.
I mean, think about this. Think about this for Murphy. That, I mean, you had obviously Topuria just left the division, and Holloway just said he's not going back down to 145. So you have 2 massive names right there off the list. You have the 145 titles happening next week. Like, if Murphy wins this fight, he's going to be right there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He probably gets a fight with either like the winner of Yair or Pitbull. I think would make a lot of sense. He could get Ortega, like him fighting Brian Ortega would make a lot of sense. He's going to get something. If he wins this fight, he could potentially be 1 away.
Which is crazy to say, because I just think of him and base him off that Gabriel Santos fight, which I think is a negative thing to do, because at a certain point, and that's I got burned on with Barbosa against him, but he's really been impressive over his last few. He's a guy who's like, if someone asked me, who have you changed your opinion the most on? Lerone's up there. And
also,
we'll see how it goes.
Shout out Magic. I mean Murakami. Murakami dominated him the first
round.
Oh,
yeah.
Got kneed to death. But again, that was even before the Santos fight. That was a long time ago.
That was at MSG, right?
No. I don't think so. I don't think it was MSG. It was on a pay-per-view, though, because I remember I was doing a college football show. I was doing a college football show, and I was flying back. And it was like one of the last things I saw before our plane like took off was like Americani had a great first round. Like the live odds flipped, and then he just died in the second round.
It was Jan Blachowicz. Sorry, it was Teixeira Blachowicz.
Okay. That makes sense. Remember, I got back that night and watched that pay-per-view in Jersey. That makes sense.
UFC this weekend, we are finished. You like anybody on PFL tomorrow night?
I saw you put out the Nathan Kelly pick. I like that pick. I like that play. Is that still plus money?
He's down to plus 110. I kind of like him all the way to plus 100.
Yeah, I think plus money, I would take Nathan Kelly. I like that play.
There's something interesting. I was looking at a Thad Gene, and then maybe parlay. I don't know. Like, you look at these fights, PFL, what I've learned is that like there are parlay pieces, but sometimes you get burned on them in the PFL. You kind of want to pick your spots. Maybe they'll put some props up. I was even kind of looking at Andre Koreshkov against Jason Jackson. But Thad Gene, I think maybe if they put up KO odds, I'll look at that. Maybe I do like Joseph Luciano against Sarek Shields. I think he's pretty damn good. I may even do a Thad Gene Luciano parlay. Braga's fighting, and
Pinedo is too, right?
Yes, and he's against Adam Borics, who's
that's
not
a great
bad.
Fight.
That should be a banger.
Really good fight. I love that fight.
So, yes, that is it. We'll be at first round. Jason Jackson, of course, a champion, and he fought against he did in the Bellator versus PFL card. Should be fascinating. First PFL. Can't wait to see it. Braga, Borvix. Make sure to check that out tomorrow. Nice Thursday card in a weird sports week. And it should be fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Can't wait for this weekend. And obviously, next week, we will be back for a huge card in Miami. We're very excited for that one, of course.
Hell yeah.
All right, see you guys.